Hi, Dr. Patrick Gentempo here, and thank you for joining us on our YouTube channel. We have great content in store for you. I'm so excited to be here with you, and let's jump right into it. But it's coupled with high-level experience. So he's a unique guy, great communicator, and this interview is something I think that's going to light you up. So let's dive in. Jon, I have to say, you've got a pretty fascinating life, so I'm really glad that you agreed to come and have this conversation with us. So thanks for taking the time.
Oh, thank you. I'm enthused about anybody who's spreading the good word about crypto.
Well, we're definitely going to be doing that. But your path to doing what you're doing today is a bit different than most people I've been interviewing for this series. So let's start with that. Let's go back to kind of your earlier careers, maybe in athletics, et cetera, and talk about how you went from that to what you're doing now.
Sure. Well, I came to Chicago out of college to play football for the Bears. So that's one of those unusual starts that you're speaking of. And then I got cut 4 games into the 1981 season. So this season would have been my 40th year in Chicago. And I'm happy that for all the success that all those players had that I did not enjoy. I enjoyed being with them. It was a great time to be with the Bears. They were just starting their trajectory to be one of the top teams, but I was not going to be part of that ride. So my agent gave me the opportunity to come down to the trading floor in Chicago because at that time there were about 6,000 traders in Chicago between the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, the Chicago Board of Trade, and the Chicago Board Option Exchange, as well as the Chicago Stock Exchange. So we were loaded with traders in Chicago. And it was one of those situations where if you were young and aggressive and you had an opportunity, you better seize it. Those kinds of opportunities don't come around that often. So I worked for free for most of the next 6 months, learning the ropes. And then luckily I got the opportunity to start backing myself as a trader and grew from that into trading in the pits in Chicago. Loved that. I mean, it was exciting. It's energetic. You learn a lot of skills about hedging and discipline, because discipline is probably the most important thing that any trader needs if they're going to have long-term success. And then I was able to build up a few businesses, sold one of them to Citadel in 2004, the largest hedge fund in the world at that time. And we sold our trading operation, our floor operation to them, about 55 traders. And then we began building up a brokerage firm that we ended up selling to E-Trade for $750 million in 2016. And knock on wood, they only wanted the brokerage firm, so we kept all the other intellectual property, which is now Market Rebellion. And Market Rebellion is education, subscriptions, mentoring, coaching for stock, options, futures, and cryptocurrencies. So now I broadcast on TV as I've done since, I think, 1997. I started off on local Fox. They just needed somebody to talk about what the markets were doing on TV for the Fox Chicago affiliate. Then I went to Fox National. And then in 2006, I signed with CNBC, and I've been there ever since.
Wow, I mean, that's quite a journey. And incidentally, being a diehard Giants fan, I remember those early 80s Chicago teams really well.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't Singletary linebacking then? And yeah, so you were part of that core. That was quite a group of guys, man. What's amazing to me is how you went from that and then jumped into, Board of Trade, the pits, etc. Everything that you described, which doesn't, the world's turned since then. It's not, there's nothing like that experience, I don't think, in today's world. And maybe you could describe it. I think this is important. You started to talk about it, how you learned discipline and some other things there. is the abstract aspect of, say, like, let's say the academic Ivy League view of what it is to trade in the markets and all that kind of stuff, versus being in the mix and actually feeling it real time and battling in it real time. The experience of that has to shape you very, very differently than kind of the abstract academic understanding of trading in the markets. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah. There are an awful lot of people that would be very successful upstairs, but not successful in the pits. In the pits, there's shoving and pushing, pretty close to punching, because people are fighting for turf. Right. They're literally fighting for every 6 inches or 12 inches so they can turn and, motion with their hands to buy or sell. And that is a different sort of mindset. And it also is something that can really cause you to lose your discipline, because, you get angry. Somebody, swings around too fast and they hit you. Maybe they did it on purpose. Maybe they didn't, but it throws you off your game sometimes. So when you're upstairs, the difference is, of course, that it can be almost silent, depending on, obviously there's big upstairs trading floors that are very noisy, but there's also individual traders upstairs that are sitting around in front of 4 or 5 monitors just looking for patterns in the market or whatever. So that versus a trading floor, whether it's the trading floor of Goldman Sachs or the trading floor in a pit, is a completely different experience. And a lot of us back in the early days when I started, you could tell by the sounds of the floor what kind of market we had. Was it bullish? Was it bearish? By the fear in traders' voices. And that's something that you don't get anymore when you move upstairs. You don't get all that frenzied activity. Instead, you're just watching zeros and ones come across the screen, just like all of us do all day on the internet. And, it's up to you to make some sense of that.
So you come from the pre-internet era, obviously, and in that, and like you said, a palpable, there's a kinesthetic side to the experience that you're feeling it as it's happening. And I think maybe somehow if you're born post-internet, as far as into this world, you probably get a sense of things too with the stuff you're watching, but just a different way. But then this thing comes along called crypto, right? Yep. So you're more in the traditional world of investment and trading and all that kind of stuff. And now suddenly there's this, decentralized thing. It's kind of unregulated. It's blockchain. And you have to learn about all this. What was your impression when you first started seeing crypto coming onto the scene? Did you say, "Wow, this is the future," or did you say, "This is just something that makes no sense to me"? What was your vibe around that?
I would say that it was, wow, this is something really exciting. And just like when I started trading on the floor, it was something I didn't understand. When I started working on the floor, I should say, not trading, like I say, I worked for about 6 months before I knew enough to really start investing and trading and risking my capital. It wasn't that long in crypto because I had that basis from trading other asset classes like stocks, ETFs, options, futures. But nonetheless, you needed to understand it before you could really trade it. So I think you'd be shocked by how many former floor traders are now gravitating to crypto. I go to a big event every year called Interbourse, and it's a big ski get together with 400 or 500 men and women from around the world that have all been involved in one way or another in trading. Most of them from exchanges, some of them from banks and things like that. And we get together for a week every year, go skiing and talk about, trading. A majority of those people are now in crypto. And the reason is they see the same things that I saw. This is the next frontier. This is the next opportunity. So if you wanted to think of it almost like some of those pilots that were testing planes in World War II to all of a sudden see space travel, that's kind of what it's like. This is the next frontier. And it's really exciting because of that, because there's so few people that really were expert at trading that were in crypto, many of the crypto traders that I've met, of course, use technical analysis, charts, to try to figure out support and resistance, and that's smart. And then you need to factor in all the other things, sentiment, which is a big driver of everything from crypto to, the Wall Street bets crowd on Reddit, to Twitter. And then you also need to factor in, supply and demand. The more traders that migrate and the more investors that migrate over to crypto, the more robust it becomes. It's gone, now it's back over 2 trillion in market cap, and Bitcoin's pushing back up to that $1 trillion mark. These are all things that are happening because of adoption, because more traders are getting involved, more endowments and foundations and institutions are getting involved. More people like me are starting hedge funds, and that's all positive for crypto. It will mean volatility, yeah, there's no doubt about that. But it also means that the more adoption you have, the longer the curve on the growth for crypto. And I'm very bullish on crypto.
So in your own approach towards this, are you trading the crypto market more than just buying and holding?
I really have 2 ways of approaching that. One, I have some crypto like Bitcoin and Ethereum that I've put in cold storage. And I know what that means. It means I've disconnected it. It's on a Trezor or a hardware wallet, and it's put in a safe, and I don't touch it. And then I have active trading account over at Voyager, and Voyager Digital is a Canadian exchange. I own part of that crypto broker, and I use that for my trading activity. So I trade actively. There's hardly a day that I don't make 10 or 20 trades in crypto.
Wow. Thanks so much for being here and watching that video. And can I ask you to please subscribe to our channel so you can find out when we're posting new content. You'll be alerted right away when we do. To share this with people you think might benefit from the information, and certainly it helps us if you like the video. So if you like what you just saw, go ahead and hit that like button. And again, thank you so much for being here with me right now.